So I decided to do a little experiment to see how a tri-tip would come out if I cooked it directly on top of some hot charcoal. So the charcoal that I'm using is lump charcoal just because it's a natural charcoal. It doesn't have any chemicals or anything like that or bonding agents. So I wanted to see how this tri-tip would come out using mesquite lump charcoal. Now this is a tri-tip that I vac sealed a few months ago back in December of 2020. And I decided to thaw this baby out and give it a try. Can't go wrong with testing out tri-tip to see the best ways to do it. But first, with this one, I need to trim it down just a little bit because it has a little bit of silver on it. And so I just kind of want to get that off there because the silver on your beef, it just doesn't render anything. It just doesn't break down. It doesn't give you extra flavor or anything like that. So I'm just going to trim this baby down real good. Try to leave some of the fat on there as much as I can. So that way I can render a little bit of flavor, because one thing about tri-tips, they don't have a lot of flavor. So I'm salting this up, and you can be very, very generous with your salt when you're salting it because it's going on there to dry it out a little bit. So the rub that we're going to be using is the Spiceology Garlic Herb. And as you can see, that nice green coloring it has on it with the flakes and everything. It's awesome. And it has some really good ingredients that pulls out a lot of good flavor. And it's a great combination that goes well with beef. All right, so now it is time to show you this beautiful compound butter. Now this is the black garlic compound butter, and I also use the seasoning, the same seasoning I'm using on the meat to make the compound butter in combination with the black garlic. I do have a video up on that, so make sure you check it out because this is a tasty compound butter. All right, so now about 2 hours later, I'm pulling the beef out of the refrigerator, and I'm just going to wipe off some of the salt because I don't want a whole bunch of salt on the beef because I'm cooking it directly on the heat, but I do want some left on there to complement the rub that I'm putting on there. So as you can see, rubbing it on there real good, getting it packed on there really, really good and rubbed in. This smells delicious. Can't wait to put this on the grill. And my charcoals look ready. And now it's time to spread these babies out. Now, like I said, I'm using the mesquite lump charcoal, all natural. It's going to give this great flavor. It's going to smoke the meat, and it's also going to cook it up and give a nice sear on the meat and cook in all those flavors really, really good. Look at that. And make sure when you're doing this, you're being very careful. If you have some heat resistant gloves, make sure you use those. And I'm flipping the meat over, pulling off a couple of chunks of this charcoal. Look at that. Now that's not burnt. That's the seasoning that's cooked into the meat. And then once it's cooked in, I'm adding some of this compound butter on top of it. Those chunks of black garlic. Now black garlic is rendering a sweet, really, really nice flavor. It's going to complement this. It's just awesome. So I'm putting the lid on. I'm going to close up the little dial over there because what I want is for the butter to melt into the meat. So a few minutes later, the butter is melting in. I'm just going to take a brush and just kind of just brush the meat on there. Make every single crevice of that tri-tip has some butter on there. Look at that flavor, the seasoning. All right, so now I'm going to put this baby to the side. I'm going to put on a couple more pieces of butter, and I'm going to put the lid on there so that way the butter can melt down some because the meat is almost ready. The tri-tip is almost ready, and I'm excited to taste this. So the lid's back on. A couple minutes later, the butter is melted on there, and it's time to pull this baby. Well, actually, I got to check the temp first to make sure that it's cooked to a medium rare, medium well. I don't go for a well done. My wife likes medium well. I like medium rare, so I'm trying to get the in between. So the thinner cuts of the beef, hopefully those are going to be like a nice medium well, and the thicker parts, which is going to be for me, it's going to be like more of a medium rare. All right, got this baby on the table. I rested it for about 20 minutes, and the juices are still coming out of the meat. Let's cut into this. Look at that. Juicy, Nice cut. Now that's the very tip. That was the skinniest part of the tri-tip, and it has a lot of flavor on there. Now this is my side, the thicker side. Look at that. Nice, red, juicy. The flavors are all cooked in. The butter is making this just look even better and taste better. This is going to be a good meal. Now, if I have leftovers, I'm definitely going to be making some tri-tip sandwiches. And I guess the caveman method for tri-tip, I'm loving it. This might be the new way that I start cooking my tri-tips. They cook fast, they cook in great flavor, they give it a nice char. It comes out just the way I want it as far as texture and juiciness and color. And that's it. Hey, go cook some. Bye.